Welcome to this session of Black Beat Podcast. My name is John Washington, the CEO and Editor-in-Chief of Flossin Media, and I'll be your host for today's show, where we, as always, take an unapologetically Black approach to profiling the people and stories that are significant to the connectivity and advancement of our community. As a Black business owner and a long-time community member, Towanda Perry of Northwest Affordable Autos is one of those people who leave a lasting impression. From her opening, engaging demeanor to her standard of ethics in the field of used car sales, Towanda stands head and shoulders above many of her peers in the industry. It is an honor and a pleasure to showcase her on our show today. Welcome, Towanda.
Thank you.
Oh man, I've been looking forward to this anyway. I don't see you too much, but but believe me, you're always in my feelings and always in my notion. There's always a couple of y'all that's running around there that I'm always got my eye on because y'all are stories that I think that the community needs to hear. So Towanda, tell the community a little bit and tell our listeners a little bit about your background, your personal, your educational, your work, all that stuff. Just share with us just a small bit to just pull us up to speed about who this lovely lady is that we got sitting in front of us today. Well, I'm sure you didn't get to lovely that easily, but, but tell us a little bit about your story, sister.
Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Towanda, and first let me say thank you. It is my honor and privilege to be on this show this afternoon. I was born and raised in Birmingham, Alabama. And at the age of 14, I moved to California. My parents divorced, and I moved to California with my mother. I graduated from Los Angeles High School in the class of 1988. And upon my mother was married to a guy, and they moved to Oregon, and I came here to visit. And, like most 18-year-olds, I met someone who I thought I was madly in love with, and I stayed here. And had my first child in 1990. And so, I worked at a Black-owned business here called Jabel's when I first moved here. It was a beauty supply store on Martin Luther King. They had a location in North Portland as well. And so I stayed there for maybe about a year or so. But as most young girls do, searching for something bigger outside of themselves and, looking for that father figure. And he was a kind of slick and fast guy. And so that attracted me more than the job that I had. And so, I kind of dove off into, kind of dating fast guys, fast money, got caught up in the life myself after having my first child. And then I moved on and I had a second kid. When I got ready to have my second child, that the first relationship ended, went into the second relationship, and had a second child, and stayed in that relationship for about 10 years. In the process of that relationship, we bought our first home together. We opened a beauty salon down on 7th and Knott. We had that salon for about 17 years. But at the end of the breakup, I was able to keep things. The breakup was pretty much behind addiction. He had a serious addiction to drugs. And at that point, I decided, this is not really for me. I'm not an addict. And I decided to, go a different route. Being my own boss and having my own stuff, the entrepreneurial spirit was always in me. From the time that I was 18 years old, I knew that I did not want to work fully for anyone else. But the fact that I had two sons as well that needed me and I wanted to be available to them, even pushed me further into wanting to, kind of adventure down that road even faster. So in the midst of that makeup, while I was with him, we lived a fast life. We sold drugs. That's how we maintained things. And I got in trouble for the first time behind that lifestyle in, I believe it was 1999. Got a slap on the wrist, didn't really get anything out of it. Didn't really learn my lesson the first go round. So I decided I was gonna, stick with it, stay with it. And, also too, because of the breakup, I had bills way over my head, but I was like, I can't lose the home. I can't lose the business. I got to take care of the kids, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to stand on my own, and I'm going to do this. And, it worked out for a little bit, for a little while, several years, to be honest. And, after that relationship, got involved in another relationship, kind of the same thing. So it came to a point in a time where, and then I had a third child. I had my daughter, Mignon, from a third relationship. And we, after having her, I ended up getting into some trouble. Had gotten in trouble a couple of more times. Once again, never no real time, no real consequences. Was always able to get a lawyer, get out of it, and move along. And, after that, I had a son that was, as he got older, what people don't understand sometimes is our children, they watch the life that we live, and it becomes appealing to them, and it becomes attractive. And so I had a son that kind of got, they got off into the gangs and wanted to be out there, and he kind of liked the fast life. And in the midst of all that, we decided that, he decided he was going to be a full-fledged gang member. And I couldn't understand that, because the one thing that I never understood is the gang mentality. I was all about getting a fast dollar, all about getting some money, but I just never understood the gang thing. And so, and that's what he chose to do. Moving fast forward, I lost him in 2008 in a double homicide out in Gresham on New Year's Eve.
Wow.
And when I say that was the first real tornado in my life, it knocked me off my rocker, because I always felt like, if I was in the fast life and I had this money, my kids didn't have to be without, and they didn't have to, they always had the latest and the greatest of everything, nice things. And if I could be available to them, that they would escape the street life. Well, what I didn't know was, it attracted him even more, that child in particular. And so when I lost him in 2008, and at the time I was in church, I was the youth director, I was the church secretary. I spent a lot of time in church, trying to transition my life from that. At that point, I had also gotten in school for massage therapy, and, because I always wanted to kind of have a day spa and this and that. And so, but when I lost him, I didn't care about anything anymore. I didn't care about the massage license. I didn't care about the salon. I didn't care about trying to transition. I felt like, God, how dare me try to change my life and you take my firstborn. So I was angry with God for a very long time. And so for about the next 3 or 4 years, I kind of said, well, what's the point of changing if, this is going to be the end. This is the end I was trying to avoid. And so in that, I got back into my street thing. I went back into street mode and got in some more trouble. And, people always think that going to prison is a bad thing, and it's not a place that's made for us. I'll be the first to say that. But I will say that in me going there, and I made up my mind when I went in that this was going to be my time to grieve. This was going to be my time to pray. This was going to be my time to reconnect with God so that I could get back on a stable foundation. I had to realize that I had 2 other children. When my son passed, I started letting the gang members come over. Y'all can hang out. We friends. It was kind of, you're very vulnerable in that grief. That's why when people are going through grief, I tell people all the time, don't judge people in their grief, because I made some decisions in my grief that, that just were not normal. I hung out with people that I normally wouldn't hang out with. I made some decisions and some decisions even for my children that I know in my right mind I would not have allowed. So, me going to prison was, a good thing for me to separate myself from some people, from some things, and to get back on to what I was doing before I lost my first son, Darius.
Wow.
So I thank God for that every day, because had he not interrupted my flow, I probably would be still out here, or even with a longer jail sentence, or dead somewhere. You know, that would have been the end for me. And so in that, you know, like I said, I was able to go in there and cry, and I prayed, and you know, I did a lot of writing, and I did a lot of soul searching, and I was able to come out. I went in 2011 on a 24-month sentence. And the district attorney said he was going to make sure I didn't have any option for early release, no programs, no anything. So when I turned myself in, I was expecting to do 24 months. But by the grace of God, I was given every program that was available to me to participate in. And even though I wasn't a drug addict, they gave me a drug program. Well, in that program, I was able to go to Turning Point, and I was able to reassess my thinking.
Wow.
So, you know, addiction is not always just about a drug. You know, my addiction is that fast money.
Yeah.
You know, the fast money, the you know, just the excitement of all of that. And so what I've always known is that I've got to be able to take care of my children. But when I say it was a humbling experience to show me what you really need and what you don't need, and the things that we think we need in our lives, you know, sometimes you have to really sit down and assess those things. So I was able to go in there and do that. And then I, you know, said, well, what am I going to do when I go home? I remember clearly one day calling my mom from prison and saying, Mom, I don't know what I'm going to do when I come home. I got to figure it out, because I'm 40 something years old, and I've never had to take care of my kids on a legitimate, honest living ever. I've always been able to shake and move and do something that was going to net them or net the family what we needed. And I said, and I'm not willing to live like that anymore. I can't. I'm just not going to. And she said, well, baby, I know what's in you. And I know that we can do this. She said, and if I have to exhaust every resource that we have in order for you to succeed, because I am an only child with my mom. My dad has, you know, I have sisters with my father, but with my mom, I'm the only child. And so she said, and you know, whatever we have to do, you know, we in this thing together. And I said, okay. And so, you know, I was able to do my time and come home. And, you know, when we decided we were going to do this, you know, we had an option. We were either going to do a day spa, and we kind of sat down as a family with my partner, and we kind of figured, you know, and so we ended up going with this. And what I will say is, you know, I'll be the first to say these cars kind of feed that addiction for me with the fast money. So I'm still an addict in that way, because I want some money, but the only limitation,
a better way to grind, huh?
it's just a whole nother way to grind, and I love it. But what I love most about it is I've always had a passion to help people as well. I always want to help people in a way that maybe someone wasn't able to help me, or give something to them that someone wasn't able to give to me. And so in this business, for me, when people come to buy a car, it's more than buying, you know, it's more than just buying a car. It's not just, you know, I have other people that are around and that work here, and they're like, these people come here, they think you're their counselor, they think you're this, they think you're that. And I said, well, in a sense, we are. I said, and I think that's what our tie to the community is that they know when they come here, you know, we have a pantry here. The kids know they say, Miss Twan, can I have some chips? Can I get this? Can I get that? It's family, you know, because we know you can go anywhere and buy a car, but it's about the experience here, and it's about family, and everything that we do here is really, you know, from our heart here. So, you know, I got hopped off into the car business, and when I say, it's been hard as a woman to tread off into that, you know, and I had every fear that you can possibly imagine, because here it is, you know, my man is telling me that we're going to do this. And I'm like, how? I don't even put oil in my car. I just put gas in it and drive. And you mean to tell me we're going to do this? And I'm, you know, like, how are we going to do this? But, you know, it has happened.
Hold on, Towanda, not to interrupt you, but girl, breathe for a second, because you done dropped some pearls, boy, over the time on this one, girl. You ran through that field pretty fast. And let me tell you, there was some hot rocks, boy. I was checking my feet to see if they was still catching my ankles. You know what I'm saying? So you ran through that field. But I'll tell you, what an amazing story, Towanda. You know, just the recovery act of going through all those trials and tribulations, falling into those holes, climbing up out of those holes, advancing the ball and down the field on an agenda. and then experiencing those hard hits, those life hits. And I heard long ago anybody say, have you ever met many parents that ever recovered from losing a child? you know and so just the major fact was that you were able to find a space to somehow or another heal that wound. And sorry to say where it had to be, but sometimes we got to lay down or sit down. Something gonna force us to lay down and sit down, because especially if we're running. So you got through that, you made it there. So how did the car business itself, like, how did you matriculate toward that? I mean, I understood the fast money part about that, but how did the business come into mind, and how did you get hold of that? How did you have that in your hand once you woke up one morning and you realized you had a business in your hand? How'd you get there?
Well, as I was saying, we were either going to do a day spa or we were going to do selling cars, and we were going to sell cars from home, just something for me to supplement, if I found a job, because remember, I'm freshly out of jail. So we're just going to sell a few cars from home, but at the time I lived in Clackamas County, and I couldn't do that. It's not, you can't sell cars from your home. And so, and again, with the family being involved, we wanted something that we all could participate in.
Oh, okay, right on.
So my young, so I still, my son Anthony, and then I have a stepson, Jimani. And so, we have both sons and daughters between my partner and I, and my mom. And so we were like, well, they wouldn't fit very well in the day spa business. So we're gonna go. We said we're gonna do a soul food restaurant. My mom said, well, I'm not doing all that cooking. So okay, we're gonna do the car thing. And so she went in and she said, I'm gonna help you guys. I'm gonna financially support, and I'm gonna, help us get, some of the money that we need to try to do this. And that's what we did. And as a family, my son was working at Nordstrom's at the time. He left Nordstrom's, and he came here, and he's been my rock and my right-hand man since we have opened. Now, mind you, my other half is still in prison at this time when I'm doing all this. So that's why I'm really stepping out on faith, and I'm doing
wow,
the right thing to do, because now when he come out, he can do something different too. Because sometimes
you were holding it down. You were holding it down.
Yeah. So, sometimes we kind of have to lay the foundation or lead the way, or say, hey, well, let's try this way. And so that's just what we did. And, he came home and he transitioned into it for a minute, but his mindset, didn't shift. My mindset had shifted. His didn't. So, he still had another run in him.
Yeah.
So it led him back to prison.
Yeah.
But
wow.
It led him back. And, to this day, that's where he still is. And behind those activities, my business was even attacked. I had to, submit all kind of documents to show, hey, this is how we did A, B, C, and D, because first of all, we're already scrutinized anyway. And then the fact that I had the criminal background that I had, I just had the cards kind of stacked against me. And when I say, we've been here almost, it's 8 years now. And, every hit or nick, that we could take, it's come our way. They even had it where while we were going through that process, I wasn't supposed to touch money up here or anything.
Wow.
And so they had it where anything that came through here, my son had to be in charge, and we walked through that. That happened in 2015. We almost lost some of our funding from the people who helped buy our cars, our lines of credit and all of that. But, we serve a good God, and when I say I changed my heart and my mind to do something different, I've been standing on that.
Wow.
I don't care how bad it get, because people think, oh, you sell all them cars, you make all that money. No, not so much. It's not always like that. In anything that you do, there are going to be bad days. But we have to stay faithful to it. We got to stay committed to it. And that's what we have done. When I say, it's been times where we needed money, and my mom she'll go into her retirement. It happens. When I say she has fully backed me and supported me, and, there have been other people that have come along and said, I want to help you do this, with the soul, you guys being one place that I called, and you guys hooked me up with a mentor. And that's been priceless. I can't even put a dollar on that. It's been that, it's that type of mentorship that, someone that looked like me that can assist me and guide me in the direction that I'm supposed to go, because we want to go to a different level.
Yeah, yeah, and let's talk a little bit about that before we move too far away from it. You got other women listening to you out there, probably going through very similar situations. Like, we a lot of us from the hood. You know what I'm saying? And we, by any means necessary sometimes to survive. I mean, yeah, I think ethic and integrity is a good thing. I think we've been sold on that to have more value than the people who sold us on it. They don't seem to have as much value to them, but it seems that but how did you transition that, Towanda? How did you maintain that integrity, even in the midst of all that trying and tribulation? Share with your sisters, man, what was some of the substance you needed to be able to at least be able to get onto the rock that you're standing on now? Is that, what was that like? Tell us a little bit about what that was like to those trials and tribulations for you to get to where you're standing on a solid rock right now. What would you say to them women out there?
I would say that you have to have good people around you, people that believe in you, people that no matter what the world say about you, they are going to stand with you. I listen to a lot of spiritual stuff, gospel music being one. And I would listen to, it's a couple songs that I would get up and play every morning. And one of the songs just said, they scandalized my name. They talked about me. They defamed my character, but I'm still standing.
Woo!
So I take that, and I would, and some days it took me listening to that, riding to work crying, because I knew that God had a ram in the bush for me. What I knew is that, if you can bring me through losing my child, and anybody that know that my kids are everything. So if you can take me from that, and I forgot to mention, after I buried my son, 6 months before I went into prison, I buried my daughter's father. So, when I went into prison, I knew, it's like, okay, I just buried him. I missed my son's graduation. I missed a lot of things along the way. I missed my daughter going into 6th grade. And, and we still, my son and I, we still kind of trip over some of that stuff sometimes. But when I say it's been good people, he sent people around me, even in this business, when they should have, when I was going through some of that audit stuff, they should have came over here and took every call for this lot. Because if you know anything about the IRS, if you're fighting against them, they had a right to come and take everything from you. But when I say those people say, hey, we're not doing that. You've been good. You've been steady. You pay us like you're supposed to. We just gonna, we just gonna maybe just decrease your credit just a little bit. And I said, okay, I can take it and run. I can run with that. But it's the good people. It's the support. It's prayer. I don't push people on what they believe, but you got to believe in something bigger than you. It has to be, because I know it's been some things around here that I don't know, I do know. I know how I've made it, and it's nothing but the man upstairs. That's it. And just the things that he's brought me through. I'm like, and I have to remind myself sometimes, if he brought you through that, girl, this gonna be a piece of cake. You just got to hang in and don't even stress yourself out about it, because you can't go to bed taking all that stuff to bed with you and getting up. If you either gonna trust him or you're not. And that's why I get sometimes where I just have to trust. And I say, here you go. Let go, let God. Sung by Dwayne Woods. Let go, let God. You take it. I can't do nothing with it no way. Wow. So, and that's what I really stand on.
Right on, sister. I do appreciate that. And I agree with you on that. You can't take it with you when you're gone, so you better figure something else out. Now, so tell me, now that you made it through a lot of that, you arrived here today, where you are here, and then all of a sudden you got this issue going on where they was coming to take the house, and you had to fortify the fence a little bit. So tell me how you made it through. What took place to be able to get you? Tell me a little bit about the story about how you arrived to some solid foundation through all that. the sense is that you were able to make it through some of those trials and tribulations. How'd that happen in light of the coronavirus and the socioeconomic, unrest and all those types of things? How'd you make it through? What happened?
Well, when Corona first hit, my son, my brother, we were all standing in my office, and they said, "Well, since we got to close down now, we have to go." I said, "Well, I'm gonna tell y'all this." I said, "Whoever want to stay, stay." I said, "The governor gonna have to pull up here and tell me I got to close." I said, "Because I can't." I said, "This is my family's income. So if I don't show up here to work, a whole bunch of us aren't gonna eat. So I have to be here." And so, my son has asked me, he said, "Mom, I got asthma and I can't be taking no chance on this stuff." And I said, "Well, son, you know what?" I said, part of this whole COVID thing is about, y'all want our attention. I said, "That's what I really feel like." I said, "And so he gonna get it by hook or crook. It don't matter. You either gonna submit or however we got to do it." And so when it first hit, we said, they wanted to close. And I said, "Well, no." And, I said, "Well, I'm already financially in the rear. We're in the rear." I said, I can't, I can't close. I said, and but one thing about it, he's never let a light be off. He hasn't, we seem to pay our bills every single month and on time for the most part, and so I said, and I just believe he gonna, once again, he ain't brought us this far to fail us. And so, once again, I met, Sam through you guys, and I was telling him, hey, I said, if I don't, figure something out financially, especially with this virus hitting and stuff shutting down, we got to figure some things out, and so he was able to kind of, bounce some stuff off you guys. And when I called you, you put me in direct. You said, hey, I don't know a whole lot about car business, but I have a friend that does, and I'm gonna, link you with that person. And did just that. And, he was telling me about a few different places. He said, hey, let's try, we can maybe tap into Prosper. Let's see what we can try to do to get you some financial funding. I said, because if we don't, I said, I've been hanging on by threads for 7 years. I said, if I don't do something, I said, I don't know what direction it's going to go. I said, but I can't, what I'm clear on is I can't go back to the streets, but I said, I fought such a hard fight that I would hate, to have to leave and give up on this thing. And, we started, he said, well, I'm gonna get you a couple of applications from places. And I've spoken with some people at MISO as well, because I work with them too. And between, your agency and them, you guys kind of directed and showed me a way to go. We don't know what's going to come out of this, and again, when I say he placed good people around me, you guys are some of those people that had information that I needed, and guided me. You guys were a vessel for me to get there, sitting at the table, having people to come in and hash it out. And, and then sometimes I would get bashful about telling my story because people are like, oh, well, she's a criminal, or she's this, or she's that. But, for you guys to even believe enough in me to allow me to present and put it on the table, and not to sugarcoat anything, it just felt good, and you were really clear on it's going to be a battle, but to have people standing in that battle with me.
That's right.
And for you to connect me with Sam. And when I say hand in hand battling, and, he was like, sister, we're going to get this done. And sometimes I was like, no, I don't know. But we started working with Prosper. You guys spoke on my behalf to Prosper. You guys fought. You guys connected me with who I needed to, because I didn't even know how to do a profit and loss statement, how to do this, how to do that. Once again, having those good people around me. I remember us sitting with, some people and me saying, hey, I need financially, I don't know if my accountant is willing to do this because I need to pay her too. And somebody saying, well, I'll pay her so we can, I'll help you pay her. Having those people that were there to say, I believe in you just that much that I'm going to put my personal on the line for you. And didn't know me from a hole in the wall.
Yeah.
And so that's what we do have some people in this community that are like that, and so, and when that happened, and then, the Oregon Cares Fund came, and once again, I'm not a person who was heavily into accounting, but for somebody to come over here and sit down and take time to help me organize my books, and even going with me, Sam rolled with me to my accountant, like, hey, this is what we need, because I wasn't really good on articulating what I needed, yeah, I heard of a profit and loss statement, but did I know how to do one? No, I didn't know my software well enough to do it. And so, just having somebody to hold my hand and to take me right in there to do all of that, and never giving up a step of the way, nowhere, has been amazing. And that's what you guys, you put me in touch with Prosper, and then, like I said, it's been navigating me. Anything that you guys hear, I'm constantly getting emails, do this, do that, or, sister, we want to help you with this, or do you need help with that? Consistently checking on me, find how are things going, and, what can we do to help? It's been good, or me being able, so I could pick up the phone and say, hey, this, that, and other. Having people around me that really have my interests out, and that blows my mind sometimes, that these people are not your family. You don't know them, but they treated you like family. Been amazing.
Yeah, thank you for that, Towanda. Girl, you've had quite an interesting life. It's like, and the fact that you can still smile, and that you're still motivated, that stands a testament of the strength of a woman in this field. You have to, God, I can't, in my own mind, I don't think I know too many men that could have withstood what you and your life story, and still be sitting there. So as we come to a conclusion here, and I'm sure that my publicist and them are wanting more from you, and that in this communication to get deeper and better, I'm going to keep it a little bit lighter, but at the same time, female in the car business. Tell me, just talk about that a little bit. What's that been like for you? Talk to those females out there who might be interested in getting into the business and moving in that direction.
I'll tell you, it's rough. However, because I've always felt like I had a couple strikes against me from the giddy up. So I'm going out there. First of all, when you're out and you're buying inventory, I look at myself being a female, and there are about 500 men out there. That's first. Then second of all, I'm the only Black woman out there. There are some women that come sometimes with their boyfriends or their husband, but they're on a weekly, consistent basis coming out there. It's hard, because first of all, they feel like, dollar wise, they can push me around, you can bully me, your money's longer than mine. I feel like sometimes they look at me like, I'm not letting you get that car. Like, really? You're a lady and you're Black? Oh no, you're really not getting anything. And so sometimes, there have been times where I tell my son, hey, I'm gonna let you bid on this one, because he has that aggressiveness in him, and he doesn't mind going toe to toe. There have been times where I had a mechanic here, and they're Caucasian. I let them bid, because and I've had customers. I had a guy that came here and he wanted to buy a car, and my brother said, well, hold on, let me see what price my sister's gonna say. And he said, I don't deal with women like that. I don't do business with women. I do business with men. And he said, well, I'm sorry, sir, but she's the owner. You're gonna have to talk to her. And he said, she's the owner. And so they automatically, there's this expectation that when you're out there that she doesn't know, because when I first started, I didn't know. I'll never forget. I went to the auction the first time I went and bought a Dodge Intrepid for $4,000, like I was crazy, and didn't know no better, and bought it like I was really doing something, throwing my hand up in the air like, yeah. And I said, I know. They looked at me like, "Ooh, we got us a good one here." And so it's been that, but now over the years, I've started to build that confidence. I still struggle sometimes, even now when I go out there. And it's like, I know they're going to push me around, but they also know it's a good feeling when I come in too. There are other dealers there. There are auctioneers there. There are owners of the auction that say, hey, good morning, Towanda, because they know, I'm going to come and I'm going to come correct. I'm not coming begging for anything. I'm not, I'm going to buy just like anybody else. But I'm not easy to, and you know, for most people that don't know me, I'm kind of, you know, I'm a little bit shorter than most. And so they're like, and sometimes people say, oh, I look like a little kid. But, you know, I can stand my ground.
Yes,
You know,
ma'am.
and so I've had to learn how I've always been able to do that. And that comes from me being my mom's only child. So I'm going to stand my ground, but being able to know you're not going to push me around. No, you're not just going to bully me. You know, and some of those were street skills that transferred from the other world, but they're working in the auction as well. And so, you know, we just have to know that. And I just had a young lady here the other day that said she was thinking about getting off into it. I said, hey, I said, I'm here for you. If you need to, I said, nobody told me to buy a code reader when I first started. I said, so if you want to meet out there and we go arm in arm, hand in hand, I will give you every connect I have because somebody else did that with me. MLK Auto Sales did that for me. When I say gave me priceless knowledge, priceless information, never asked for a penny, nothing funny, none of that. When I said he's really poured into me. And that's once again, having those good people around me that are coming with good intentions. And so I have to give that back. You know, other women, I tell them all the time, we can do this. I tell myself sometimes one day I'm gonna have an all-female mechanic shop. You know, it's gonna be all female. We gonna fix cars. You know, and my son told me, which made me feel good one day. He said, you know what, Mom? He said, what I've learned is that if no one else shows up here, you'll figure out how to do everything around this building. I said, yeah, I will. I said, I'm gonna learn how to fix a car before it's all said and done. I said, because that's how much I'm invested. And I said, and I'm glad that you see that.
Wow. So tell me, what's I'm scared of you. We better make some room for you down there. Somewhere for that car not to be. What's your future look like? I mean, in terms of the company and business, and you know, where you going, sister? I mean, obviously, you know, you got to right that you're standing on some type of foundation. And what I heard that foundation to be number one is an investment in a spiritual practice and a belief. Number one as a foundation for you, and the other one is enduring. You know, being able to endure a great suffering. You know, and I heard that in your conversation really clearly, was that you know you recognize that you're going to have to stand on something solid and you're going to have to endure it, and that means you make that commitment. Damn it, you're going to go to where you're going. And I heard those are solid things. So now that you have arrived, and by the way, Towanda, I would support those characteristics because you know that truly is the transition. If you know, regardless from pain to empowerment or pain to pleasure, this whole reality is that somewhere we have to make a decision to get off the wrong train and get on the right one. And that means regardless that you might have to come back 5 years from going someplace, you may have to do something a little different. You know, so in light of that today, now that you're here, which again I support 100% because that is the transition. You're here in the transition. You've gotten some support and assistance. What are you going to do with those dollars to put? How are you going to put them to work? And what does your company look like in the future? Where do you go?
So we now have we have a mechanic here full time. We are looking into we've started a repair shop. We're offering services to the community as well, affordable services at that. Um, we are also offering detailing and all of that, you know, things that we're bringing out of just this business. Um, we have also been able to start a towing company for affordable towing um, that my son, you know, does. So I've been able to kind of give him a couple of businesses out of this business and taking those dollars that we have accessed and um, pouring it into the future. I feel like we're outgrowing this location, but this location will always be our baby. I will always, you know, because it's right here in our community of the people who we serve. You know, it's nothing like, you know, when they pull up to the traffic light here and they're hollering out the car, or you see, you know, cars going up and down the street and they have our license plates on them. So, you know, our goal moving forward, you know, we were just all about selling cars, but what we're moving forward towards now, again, is the auto repairs and being able to help people maintain their cars, teaching them how to maintain their cars, helping them to rebuild their credit. whether you have to come in and maybe get a really inexpensive car right now, and we'll build you up to having something that you want. And again, being able to offer detailing services as well. And so that's kind of where we're going. The what I see in the future is having a couple of locations.
Right on, right on. Look out, car dealership world.
Right.
Wanda's coming. Miss Perry's on her way. And guess what? She ain't by herself. She ain't alone, she comes with a few other folks, and I would introduce her to my friends, and, so, but Towanda, this has been a wonderful experience for me. What would you say if once you reflect back on all of what because usually when you tell your story, sometimes you get lost in the sauce of it, and then after you told it, and everybody's gone away in your mind, you're going, well, I should have said this. I wish I would have shared this. As you look back and reflect on your story and some of the things that you've said today, what else would you like to say to your listeners? Especially those people who are out there that are viewing who may be struggling. And, and then the next thing is, I need to figure out what let's share with the people what your contact information is and how to get a hold of you and that kind of stuff. But so what would you want to share with people, as you reflect on this opportunity here? What do you want to say to somebody out there or to people out there?
I would say never count yourself out. No matter how hard it is, where you're coming from, don't count yourself out. If you wake up, people often ask me, why do you smile so much? And I say, because I woke up today. Everybody didn't get a chance to wake up. So if I woke up, I have an opportunity to do better, to do something different, to get closer to the mark. I ask God in my prayer every morning, Lord, let me be better today than I was on yesterday. Let me be a blessing to someone. So that's what I would tell people, you just got to stay with it. No matter how dark it looks, because I've had some dark days. No matter how dark it looks, just keep doing it. Just keep on doing it. Just keep doing the next right thing. It's not going to be perfect. You're going to slip. You're going to fall down sometime. But you can do it. It can be done. So can't shouldn't even be in the vocabulary because it can be done. And so don't be afraid to ask for help. Because that, for me, I never really knew how to ask for help. I still struggle with it sometimes. Me even telling my story to you guys about how my finances were upside down. It was hard for me to do that. But sometimes we have to put that pride aside and ask for help. So, and you'd be surprised at the people who will help you. You will be surprised at the people who help you just with no hidden agenda. So there are still, good people around that will help you. Just keep doing the next right thing. Reach out, ask for help, and don't doubt yourself, and when that negativity comes, shut it out. Go get on the phone with somebody that's going to pour positive, or pick something up, read it, put your earplugs in, listen to something positive. Because sometimes people are not always available.
Yeah.
But you can always talk to that man upstairs. He's there. He's gonna listen. And if you listen back, you're gonna hear something back.
That's the key to being able to listen back, right? These people have to be able to listen, right?
Yeah.
Quiet that chatter. So how we get a hold of you, Towanda? I mean, how do people get a hold of you when they want to come by a car?
Okay, so we're located over here off of Portland Highway. Our address is 6740 Northeast Portland Highway, Portland, Oregon 97218. And our office number here is 503-477-9888. And don't forget, we offer repair services. And we also offer towing as well as detailing.
Say that number and address one more time.
6740. So that's 6740 Northeast Portland Highway, Portland, Oregon 97218. And our phone number here is 503-477-9888.
And that's Towanda Perry, y'all, the owner. And I'm here to tell you, I encourage y'all to go over and say hello to this system. And if you can't get a decent deal over there on the car, then you probably will get one. you know, so y'all do that. Because what's the worst case scenario? You might be able to get a tip on how to survive.
Right.
You know, so,
Our
you
slogan
know.
over here is, we go the extra mile to guarantee you leave with a smile. And when I say I go hard, when I call up the finance company for you, I'm gonna fight for you like it's me trying to get a car.
Well, girl, let me tell you something. I feel sorry for the other people on the other end of that phone. You know, shit, if they understood what you went through to get the way you is, the people give you that money out of the damn car. I don't know what it is. I would. Shit.
Thank you.
But listen, folks, this has been Black Beat, and this is why we do what we do on Black Beat. We tell those stories of blacks, and we're not apologetic about it. This woman came through the pipeline, came through the grind, had learned what she needed to learn because Lord knows how it all began. And some of us do know how it began, and we don't necessarily like how it all began. It affected us all in an adverse way on how it all began. And y'all know what I'm talking about, that race relations. But I can tell you this, that what it takes to survive in the field of car sales is something, I've been doing a lot of business over the last 50 years. And let me tell you, the car dealership business wasn't one of those ones that I considered going in because it's a grind. And to have this sister over there grinding this out and making a life for herself and her family, and in spite of the adversities that come her way, look, hoorah, hoorah, hoorah. You hear? Hey, folks, thank you again, sister. Thank you again for coming on this podcast of Black Beat. And I'm John Washington, and I was your host. And come on, y'all, check us out on Flossin Media, and keep coming with it. Y'all stay true to the game, and we're going to do just fine on the other side. You'll stay sane. Trust me on that. Anyway, good afternoon, everybody, and we talk to you soon. You hear that, Towanda? I'm looking forward to seeing you again soon. I might have to come over there and find me a car myself. I'll come see you soon. Yeah. Respect, y'all. See you soon, sister. Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Bye-bye.
Take it away, feeling too good to me. Chilling all day, all in your space is where I wanna be. Here in this room, what did you do? I just can't get enough. Too caught up in your love.